Good morning, everyone. This is K. Hema working as a assistant professor in Department of Civil Engineering. Today, we will discuss about building classifications. Building classifications depending upon the occupancy or the type of use. Different types of buildings have been classified into two following groups as per National Building Code. In that, group A is residential building, group B is educational buildings, group C is institutional buildings, and then group D assembly buildings, group E business buildings, group F merchandise building, group G industrial buildings, group H storage buildings, group I hazardous buildings. These are the building classifications as per National Building Code. In that first group of building classification is subdivided into 5 types. In subdivision A1, buildings are lodging or rooming houses. In that, this shall be include any building or group of buildings under the same management in which separate sleeping accommodation for a total of not more than 40% on permanent basis with or without dining facilities but without cooking facilities for individuals is provided. This included in clubs and hotels. This in lodging or rooming houses, we are used for only accommodation purpose but not cooking purpose. In that, not more than 40 members are accompanied at one place. This type of houses under subdivision A1 in residential building, and then subdivision A2 is one or two family private dwelling. In these buildings, only families can accommodate at one place. This shall include any private dwelling which is accompanied by number of one or two families and has a total sleeping accommodation for not more than 20 persons. And then subdivision A3 dormitories. This shall be include any building in which group sleeping accommodation is provided with or without dining facility for persons who are not members of the same family in one room or a series of closely associated rooms under joint occupancy and single management. For example, schools and colleges, dormitories, students, and other hotels and military barracks. And then subdivision A4, apartment houses, including any buildings or structure in which living quarters are provided for three or more families living independently of each other and with independent cooking facilities per family. For example, apartment houses, mansion and chovels. In subdivision A5, hotels. These shall include any building or group of buildings under single management in which sleeping accommodation with or without dining facilities in provided for high to more than 40 people who are primarily transient. Totally, we have in 5 subdivisions in Group A residential building. In first, lodging or rooming houses are used for only accommodation purpose with or without dining and cooking facilities. In these buildings, more than 40 people are accommodated at one place. These are lodging or rooming houses. In subdivision 2, one or two families private dwelling. This category under only accommodate one or two families at one place, not more than 20 persons. In subdivision the dormitories. In these dormitories, we have only one to two families at one place, not more in single rooms or jointly rooms without cooking facilities. These houses under dormitories. And then apartment houses. Everyone knows that apartment houses number of families accommodate at one place without cooking facility or dining facility, with cooking and dining facilities are provided at apartment houses. And next subdivision A5, hotels. In hotels, we have lot of people accommodate with or without dining facilities provided. For only 40% people are accommodate at these places, not more than 40% houses under category of subdivision A1. And next, second classification of building is educational buildings. This includes any building used for schools, colleges, daycare purpose for instructions, education or recreation. B Group B shall be further divided into as following subdivision B1, schools up to higher secondary level. This subdivision shall include any building or a group of buildings under single management which is used for students not more than 20 in number. This type of buildings under subdivision B1 in classification of education buildings, and then subdivision B2, all other training institutions. This subdivision shall include any building or a group of buildings under single management which is used for students not more than 100 in number. This is also same, but number of persons is increases than school buildings. These are the educational building classifications. And then group C, institutional buildings. Subdivision C, in this institutional buildings includes any building which is used for purpose such as medical or other treatment of care of persons from mental or physical illness or care of infants or aged persons, and for panel and detention in which the liberty of the inmates are restricted. For example, hospitals, sanitaries, nursing homes, jails, mental hospitals, etc. Building under Group C shall be further subdivided as following. Subdivision C1, hospitals and sanitariums. This subdivision shall include any building or a group of buildings under single management which is used for housing persons suffering from physical limitations because of health or age. For example, hospitals, sanitariums, and nursing homes. And then subdivision C2. Postgraduate institutions. This subdivision shall include any building or a group of buildings under single management which is used for custody and care of persons such a children and the aged, for example, houses for the aged and infants and orphanage homes. In subdivision C3, panel and mental institutions. This subdivision shall include any building or a group of buildings under single management which is used for housing persons under restraint or who are detained for penal or corrective person, in which the liberty of inmates is restricted, for example, jails, mental hospitals, mental sanatoriums. These three subdivisions are under institutional buildings. And then group D, classification buildings. This includes any building where group of people more than 50 engaged or gathered for recreation, social, religious, and periodic civil travel and similar purposes. This type of buildings is classified as assembly buildings. For example, theater, assembly halls, auditorium, exhibition halls, places of worship, etc. Buildings under Group D shall be further subdivided as following. Subdivision D1. This subdivision shall include any building primarily meant for theatrical or operatic performances and exhibitions, and which has a raised stage, fixed or portable scenery, loft, lights, motion picture houses, mechanical appliances, or other theoretical accessories and equipment, and which is provided with fixed seats for 1,000 persons. These are the subdivision D1 in assembly buildings. Subdivision D2. This subdivision shall include any building used as described for subdivision 1 but with fixed seats up to 1,000. This is also similar to the subdivision D1 with fixed seats of up to 1,000 persons. And then subdivision D3. This subdivision shall include any buildings, its lobbies, rooms, and other spaces connected for assembly of people but which have no theatrical stage or permanent theatrical and or cinematographic accessories and has accommodation for 300 persons or more. For example, dining halls, nightclubs, halls for incidental picture shows, dramatic, theatrical, or educational presentations, lectures, or other similar purposes having no theatrical stage except raised platform and used without permanent seating arrangement, art galleries, exhibition halls, community halls, marriage halls, places of worship, lecture halls, and passenger terminals. These are under subdivision D3 and then subdivision D4. This subdivision shall include any building used as described in subdivision D3 but with accommodation for less than 300 persons with no permanent seating arrangements. This is also same as D3 but without permanent seating and not more than 300 persons are assembled at one place. This type of classification under subdivision 4. And next subdivision D5. This subdivision shall include any building or structure, permanent or temporary, meant for assembly of people not covered by subdivision D1 to D4. For example, grandstands, stadia, parks, reunion stands, and circus tents. From subdivision 1 to 4, not covering the assembly of people but temporary or permanent structures of assembly buildings is under category of subdivision 5. These are the circus tents, stadium, parks, reunion stands. And next classification is Group E, business buildings. This includes any building which is used for transaction of business, for keeping of accounts or records for similar purposes. For example, city halls, court houses, libraries, etc. Buildings under Group E shall be further subdivided as following. Subdivision E1. Offices, banks, professional establishments like offices of architects, engineers, doctors, lawyers, and police stations. These are the under subdivision E1, and then subdivision 2. Laboratories, research establishment, libraries, and rest houses. These type of houses under subdivision E2 and subdivision E3. Computer installations. Computer installations under subdivision E3 and subdivision E4. Telephone exchange and subdivision E5. Broadcasting stations. These are 5 subdivisions are under business building. These 5 types are divided based on purpose of building and also type of building process. So this section will be ended this topic, and tomorrow we will continue with other classification. Thank you.